Hello, Wrasslin fans. It is me, KJ White. It is us, the Wrasslin for Life Network, and it is a wonderful Friday. I hope everyone out there is having a wonderful week, but the entire wrestling world is abuzz because tomorrow we see the debut of AEW Collision. With that comes the return, the second coming of CM Punk. Of course, yesterday the rumors started about an interview that ESPN had done with CM Punk. It came out today, and everyone's a buzzing. All the YouTubers, all the content creators are jumping on, making their opinions known and getting their feelings out there. Lots of mixed reviews about what was said. But before we go live tonight, on a day that we hit 2K subscribers, we are going to dive into this story. We're going to cover it. I'm going to save my opinion. I'm going to save my 2 cents. I might even have some extra thoughts to add to all this. However, I will just give you guys the straight, the skinny, the brass tacks of the whole deal. We are going to get into what Punk said, what was in the interview. A lot of people surmised, and you saw the clickbaiters out there trying to get the fans into it with, this is going to be bad. This is going to cause problems. We already, we're going to put them further divide. But we'll talk about that as we go along. What we will do, like I said, is I will get into exactly kind of what CM Punk had said, what came out in the interview. For me, a lot of this interview was not a big surprise. It was not like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that, or wow, I've never heard that before. I think a lot of the people who were trying to report on Punk, give us a straightforward opinion, they were able to do that and kind of keep the narrative really similar to kind of what plays out here in this interview. I'm not going to go through all the nitty gritty. Go check it out. It's all, via ESPN. But Punk did say a bunch of things. People have an opinion. I see it lighten up already. I see some people in the chat. So I don't know how much I'm going to talk to the chat right now, but I will see if I can check in and get some 2 cents from you as well. But Punk did say the following to kind of kick this off. The article gives you a bit of a rundown, the history of Punk, him coming back, the big deal, all that good stuff, and how we're leading into, a big monumental night for AEW coming tomorrow. But, the first quote they kind of throw at us from ESPN, from Punk, is this one here, where he basically says, I know pro wrestling is absolutely the most bizarre form of entertainment on earth, but to me, I treat it like a business. Pause on that. Think about it. And I treat it like the television show that it is. Punk told ESPN his first interview since last September. So y'all haven't seen me since I won the belt. I'm coming back. Time to find exactly what I have said. Find out exactly what I have said. I'm picking up right where I left off. So there's that. Now, it's kind of a simple start, generic overview of kind of his 2 cents. He's back, he's been gone. This one's a bit longer, but it just goes on. It continues to tell the story. It gets kind of a little more interesting as we go here. There's some things that people are debating. I'm really curious, but like I said, I'm going to save my 2 cents to the end of all this. We did have Punk come in, and he followed up with, I think in wrestling, we always kind of joke how we always get hurt doing the dumbest stuff. So he does talk about how, you could be doing all these crazy stunts, tricks, and everything else, and then it's something like diving into the crowd or just at a workout is where you actually get hurt. But he's saying his recovery has gone very well thanks to the support of his wife and such. He is back into a better feeling. He's feeling much better, and he's ready to go. So that is good news. With that being said, ESPN kind of starts getting into the relationship that existed between Punk and the Elite prior to the Fall Brawl or the All Out, Fallout, Brawl Out, whatever you want to call it. But the media scrum heard around the world. In Punk's mind, the division started sometime in the spring of 2022. Previously, he said that he had a solid relationship with the group, including approaching Omega to ensure nothing Punk was doing in his match would infringe on the spots Omega had planned and checking in on Page when he had COVID-19. On May 25th, 2022, Punk and Page were booked to in-person segment in the ring on Dynamite. Page was the AEW champion then, and Punk would be his challenger for the next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. Everybody remembers this kind of moment. Like, a lot of us talked about it. We were covering it live at the time, where essentially, it felt like an awkward, nonsensical promo from Adam Page, where he basically said he was protecting, this wasn't about the bell. He was protecting the whole company, that this is his heart. And then, he's protecting the world from CM Punk. So, according to Punk, that wasn't what was agreed upon. Essentially, what you're getting out of this one. So, yes, there is a little bit of tension building, as we knew. You talk a big game about workers' rights. Page said on television, well, you've shown the exact opposite since you've got here. I love this place. I care about this place. This is my home. And this Sunday at Double or Nothing, I will be defending this championship against you. No, for the first time in my life, I will be defending All Elite Wrestling from you. Everybody remembers that. I remember it was a bit of an moment. We thought maybe Page was trying to take more of a different approach. It was babyface versus babyface at the time. I don't know. But according to Punk, Page told him he said what he said because Punk had AEW wrestler and coach Colt Cabana fired from the company, or at least tried to. Punk and Cabana had a very public, everyone knows the story, where Punk had to sue his old friend Cabana. There was a lot of heat. A lot of this generated from here. So where a lot of people said that, there was a lot of starting points or a lot of reasons for the beef between Page and Page and Punk and the Elite. Well, it all kind of kicked off here. And a lot of it all stemmed around Colt Cabana. The rumor was that CM Punk had tried to get Cabana fired. We hadn't seen Cabana on TV. Granted, we never did. But, through the multiple lawsuits and everything else he went through with Cabana, that's where we end up. And it kind of blows my mind. But like I said, I'll hold my thoughts and we'll dive into more of this article. Punk told ESPN that he had no relationship with Cabana and that he never asked Khan to take Cabana or anyone else's job. But others in the company, including the Elite, believe Punk did indeed do that. Per sources, I don't know who the sources are, Page was evidently confident enough to bring the unexpectedly easy for me to say, unexpectedly on TV. So, again, Punk, according to Punk right now, he was blindsided. He didn't see it coming. Page brought it out in the public. It bothered Punk. Khan and Page were unavailable for comment on this article, according to AEW. When reached to comment via email, Cabana said they should go through AEW for everything. So Cabana wants no part of this. Omega and the Jacksons declined via their agent. So very interesting, where ESPN was trying to paint a whole picture. Certain parties did not want to participate or give their 2 cents on the matter. So be it, that is their right to do so. Page's comments during the segment, a shoot. So they explain what a shoot is, blah, blah, blah. Punk considered not going through the match out of concern that Page might intentionally attempt to hurt him. But Punk, this is probably like the most controversial part that people are kind of debating right now, but we'll get back into that. But Punk did go through with it, and it was booked to beat Page, where Punk was booked to beat Page and win the AEW title on May 29th, 2020, which we all witnessed. We all saw it happen. We all watched the match. Now, this is what Punk had to say about that match. Interesting. And I proceed to have what I think was a garbage match because I'm trying to protect myself on stuff instead of actually just working and trying to put on the best performance I can. So very interesting. Punk saying I could have worked better, but I was so apprehensive about Page that it ruined everything. It threw it off. And I want everyone to just, I know I said I'd say my opinion for the end. I want everyone to stop here and realize Punk's not saying Page made the match bad. He's saying due to the circumstances, we weren't comfortable and it didn't work. So he's not putting the blame on Page in this one, as far as I can read it. But that all being said, I'm keeping an eye out. He chopped me in the mouth. Now, this is the one thing that's going around on Twitter, on Instagram a lot, is this backhand chop directly to the mouth. Now, was it an accident? Could have been. Under the circumstances, this is where we get shady and gray. I don't know that Adam Page would have purposely smacked him in the mouth, but maybe he did if he was pissed off enough. Maybe he thought I'd just sneak one in. What this leads to is Punk then feeling like, do I give him a receipt? What do I do? It changes the dynamic. It poisoned everything for me, and it made it all really, really ugly. And that was all set. That was what set all of this off. So now Punk has his match with Page. It doesn't go so well. They're angry with each other. I'm sure nobody can read that. But, they're mad with each other. The match is overly brutal and empty-headed dipshit. I see that, C-Money. But, for me, it becomes very curious, right? And like Nicholas said, it's a very confusing promo by Hangman. It kind of does prove the point of, if you're following kind of the evidence, you're like, okay, that makes sense. It did seem quite, ad lib, ad hoc, off the hip, where we weren't really sure how it fit into everything. But furthermore, let's see what else we got here. Punk said that he regrets about what transpired at the media scrum, and he since apologized to Khan for it. He said when he first talked to Khan, well, he said his relationship with Khan is great. He also went on to say, the first thing I said to Tony when I sat down with him was, I'm so sorry I put you in that position. So here it is. Now, a lot of people have said Punk doesn't give a shit. Punk's an asshole. Punk doesn't care. Well, here's Punk saying, like, he looked right at Tony and he felt bad. Now, what he goes on to further explain, though, and kind of, I wouldn't say it's an excuse, more of an explanation, and I want to take it at face value, guys. I want to take his word for it, where, is he wrong in the fact of he was frustrated? So I apologized for the scrum, but when you've watched the scrum, you're looking at a very, very frustrated guy who had told people. So we all surmise this, that at the time when this all blew up and the diehards, the absolute tribal of all tribalists out there were just lighting their torches and wanted to burn CM Punk at the stake, a lot of us felt like it couldn't have been the first time he said it. Like, he didn't just surprise Tony. Surprise is how I feel. And that's what he's expressing here. That not only was it the first time he had heard all of that, it's not the first time lawyers were told that. So lawyers were involved prior to the media scrum, which I find very interesting. And I was just looking for something to be done, and nothing was done. So if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And I just didn't approach it in the right manner. But the tension was high. I was very, very pissed. I pretty much knew I had injured myself. Again, I was hurt. I was disappointed. Yeah, it was very easy for me. And I regret that, and I handled it in the wrong way 100%. So there you go. For all the diehard elite fans out there, for all the Punk fans out there who were waiting for some type of inroads or compromise or apology, there it is. Now, he might not directly apologize to the elite, but he's saying, I'm really sorry to Tony. I'm really sorry to the people. And he is taking responsibility. He's saying, I did not handle it well. I was frustrated. I was hurt. I'm pissed off. There it is. So interesting. I'll circle back to that with my 2 cents. After Punk left the news conference, there was a physical altercation involving Punk, his longtime friend and AEW producer Ace Steel, and Omega and the Jacksons, according to multiple reports. Nobody has discussed exactly what transpired, and Omega said on the Sessions podcast that we can't say anything legally. So that's always been the thing. There was a third-party investigation that came up after Punk. We know this, and everyone's been pretty quiet-lipped, other than some, jabs and pokes from certain sides of this argument, and then some issues that Punk had with other people. It's been really, really quiet. Another big quote from Punk. I don't think what happened was a big deal. A lot of people have kind of circled this when they've started reporting on it, that I do not think it was a big deal. And a lot of us had said this as we went through the coverage of what has happened with Punk. This has happened in the last 10 months in hockey, in basketball, in baseball. It's just about every sport, and it's covered and it's gone the next day. I think because I have injured my tricep and I've been out so long, I think it's been exacerbated. It has been exacerbated. I think it's been exacerbated by the people spreading lies about the whole thing. And when in reality, attitude is, well, shit happens. And truthfully, I believe that. And I believe a lot of this has been stretched out. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Omega said on the sessions that what happened was a super big shame. And a lot of people aren't going to ever know exactly how it went down or why or how it could have been prevented. He said, thankfully, no one was seriously injured, and he hoped that the parties are doing well. So even Kenny said, like, we're not happy about this. We're not high-fiving. We're not bragging. At least Kenny isn't. So nobody felt good about it, and for obvious reasons. The important part is that I don't think anyone is happy that this happened or is proud that it happened. I think I just covered that. So Punk said he has not had any conversations with Omega or the Jacksons since the incident, although he has tried. Guys, this is a very interesting claim on Punk's part. And I know a lot of detractors out there are going to say, that's bullshit. He didn't do that. I don't think he would have said it if he hadn't done it. And I will remind everyone out there, this interview was monitored, was watched, was overseen by AEW and Tony Khan. So anything Punk said that was going to be inflammatory or just a lie, they have every opportunity to kind of stop it from going to press. So I have a tendency to believe this claim. Punk reached out to the Jacksons and Omega. Okay, that sounds like he's trying to make things better. He's trying to put business first, as he said. He said when he has reached out, he has gotten messages from lawyers saying, do not contact this person. Punk said it was unclear whether those responses came at the request of a legal representatives of Omega and the Jacksons or a third party. So Punk saying he was basically told by lawyers, leave them alone, which again kind of ties back into everything that we're talking about with the development, growth, and the solution to this problem, and where we all felt it should end up, where it seemingly is not going to end up. What else do we got here, folks? Punk, though he said he had been told that using this saga on television and spinning it into some matches that would undoubtedly draw money, won't happen. So very interesting what I just mentioned. We all felt like this should turn into money. I mean, even the most cynical of fan had to think, like, if we could get everybody in the ring and play up the realness of this, it would be money. Punk's saying it's never going to happen. He resents that he's been painted as the bad guy in online reports when he feels he's just been defending himself. Punk said people in AEW locker room leaking things to the wrestling media have contributed to the internal drama. Which, guys, I mean, if we're paying attention and you look at the dirt sheets and you look at the two suspects that CM Punk has had issues with, and I will get deeper into this, but the Meltzer, the Alvarez, yes, those ones. I do believe that is part of this story. Not just them, the other dirt sheet writers that want to take opinion, take feelings, and again, there's been a lot of very interesting writing and reporting. So now we all got to roll in the effing mud, and that never should have happened. So Punk saying they all kind of had to go through it has never been course corrected. Now that's an interesting comment by Punk in the sense of he feels like it's never been course corrected. Like, so all this shit happened. We all lost our belts. We were off TV for a little bit. I recouped my injury, but there has been no resolution. Any resolution I attempted to make was met with lawyers. That's a problem, and it could continue to be a problem. So I understand people want to say that, oh man, Punk's a dick, which a lot of people have. Well, yeah, because I'm defending myself and I will always defend myself. I'm open to a full-blown effing sit down. So he's saying, I'll sit at the table. I'm ready to talk. Powwow discussion with everybody about it, but it hasn't happened yet. And it's not because of lack of trying. So Punk essentially is saying, I want to solve this. I want to get to the bottom of this. I'm all about business. This shit happens all the time. It's not the first or last argument I gotten with people. And I would love to have a chit chat. I don't know. With more TV time, you're only going to see now. This transitions into the last couple slides here of what was said about Collision. Again, very interesting. With more TV time, you're only going to see guys like Hobbs and Starks, people who I think have the potential to do what MJF, current AEW champion, has done with his television time. But they haven't been able to be positioned because a guy like MJF gets a big lion's share of the television time because he has earned it. So Punk's saying we got some guys like Hobbs and Starks that can't get on TV because a guy like MJF, but he's not taking anything away from MJF. He's saying he has earned it. So I respect that. I give him credit on that one. I think a lot of the fans have said there's certain people that would greatly benefit from better positioning, more TV time. We just need to do a better job of spotlighting so many different guys. And this is, for a lot of guys, sink or swim. Now it's just like, well, now it's the time. You're going to have to really bust your ass and prove why we're giving you this spotlight and this TV time. I love this. I really do love this because the idea that whoever ends up on Collision or is going to be involved in Collision are taking it as a challenge. This is our opportunity to prove something here. That makes people dangerous creatures. When you're backed into a corner and you got to find a way out, to me, I love hearing this. If I'm the poster boy, the top guy, whatever, this is what people dream about. Punk said, you get put in a position like this, and can't take the negative criticism personally. I look at it like a challenge. See, exactly what I just said. But as far as the ticket sales for the Saturday night compared to compare and contrast, I think it's a lot easier to move Saturday night ticket to a live event than it is on a Wednesday, on a work day. On a Wednesday. So there's positives and negatives. So a lot of people have made the comments about Saturday night kind of burying Collision. It's in a bad time slot. He's saying, yeah, might not the greatest of ratings, but I feel like it's easier to sell a ticket to a Saturday night show instead of a Wednesday night show. Yet that we haven't seen that proof yet. But nonetheless, now this is kind of the last little part, I believe. He's had some low moments. I won't rule out in those fleeting moments. So basically, he goes on to say, I never wanted to quit. I always wanted this. Yeah, I had some down moments of like, screw this. Well, I'm over it. But I'm not going anywhere. And yeah, because of a little boo-boo, I think I'd be silly to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So that's surmising or simplifying and summarizing that pretty quick. 9 months after stepping away off the news conference stage in Hoffman Estates, Punk will be down the road in Chicago, his hometown, with an open forum again. Yet the wrestling world will surely be waiting with bated breath. So that is kind of how they summed that up. And basically what Punk concluded with was, I won't know what I'm going to say until I have the microphone in my hand. Punk said he is proven that aired Wednesday on Dynamite. I have a lot of things to get off my chest. So I think that is Punk doing a really good job of selling us on the Saturday show. Again, legally, we don't know what he can and can't say. So therefore, he might not say as much as people are anticipating. And I do see people in the chat, so I will say hello again. But folks, that is kind of a quick rundown of the article. I jumped over a bunch of stuff. You can go find it on ESPN.com. Shout out to them for doing this. But I think everyone's over. And I think I just saw it in the chat. I've been over this Punk drama. I think that's where a lot of people are at. I don't give a fuck who's right. I don't care who's wrong. I don't care if it was the Punk's fault. I don't care if it was AEW's fault. This immature lack of professionalism amongst AEW roster and the company itself needs to stop. Again, if it is true that Punk and the Bucks are never going to get in the ring. The Elite and CM FTR are never going to have a showdown. If that never happens, and the reason it can't happen is because the Bucks don't want to answer the phone. The Bucks don't want to talk to them. The Bucks can't be mature enough to find a common ground. Then that's a problem. These aren't just employees of your company. They are EVPs. They are people who are representing your company at the highest of levels. And if they can't do it, who else do you expect to do it? How do you tell somebody like Andrade or Miro to fall in line if the closest of the close don't have to? So I think a lot of things have happened here. I do think the toxicity of the wrestling dirt sheets, of the writers, the reporters out there who are just running shit. Like even yesterday, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be big. Da 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 da. It wasn't that big of a deal, guys. Like I read the article, and people who said, "Well, this is gonna be." Well, all Punk said was he may have hit me by, a little less accident than some people perceived. Maybe it was an accident. I don't know, but that's mentally what I was going through then. I don't care. I would like to move on. I'm willing to sit down and I'm willing to do what's best for business. What I find is happening is that's not happening. We're not getting to that conclusion. We got a whole new show and we're shoving all the misfits over there because it's easier than actually dealing with it. At the end of the day, this whole situation's been messy. I think a lot of us are tired of it. But I do think the fact that this all falls on Tony Khan's shoulders. It did then, it does now. Tony Khan's got to find a way to manage all these personalities. He's got to find a way to do what's best for business. And if it is a Saturday night show, some creative freedom to guys like Punk and Ace Steel and Daniel Bryan to kind of create what they want to create, a place for guys like Miro and Hobbs and Starks and Andrade and the House of Black, the ones that don't really seem to mesh well with the AEW core. I think Tony is on the hot seat here. And yes, he's got all the money in the world. He's got a big old giant piggy bank, folks. But he cannot continue to turn a blind eye to issues. You cannot continue to ignore people when you don't know how to utilize them. You cannot run business this way. Can't be this chaotic. You can tell in everything I've heard Tony Khan in interviews, on podcasts, on TV, he wants Punk around. He likes Punk. He knows what Punk means to the company. He literally sat on a press conference and defended Punk, told everybody all the records they're breaking because of Punk. A couple weeks ago, Tony Khan had an announcement that CM Punk was going to return. That night did really good ratings, at least up until the segment for that announcement. The following week, Tony returned and announced that, in fact, CM Punk would be in the main event, and the main event would be the following. When he made that announcement, they were doing really well. They actually spiked 1 mil. They actually got themselves, averaging 900,000. This week, no announcement. This week, all your big guns that are going to be left behind on Dynamite, the Bucks, the BCC, a lot of people that have issues with Punk, only brought in 834,000 views. And I know we don't put a whole lot of stock into the ratings, but in a funny comparable or in a fair comparable between WWE and AEW as far as competition goes, that's not a pretty number. If you're going to load up, that was a loaded card this Wednesday. We gave it high ratings. We liked it, but the audience isn't growing. The fan base isn't growing. Often the toxicity of all this shit with Punk, all the nonsense with the Bucks, it's been unfortunate. The fans out there that don't want to see the value in CM Punk, I feel very bad for you. My heart goes out to you, and I get it. Punk has had a reputation of getting himself in hot water. And I think in this case, he already had a history, so it was easy to paste it on him. But do remember, the same shit happened to Cody Rhodes. The difference was Cody Rhodes signed an NDA and went on to WrestleMania. That is the difference here. And if this continues to happen within Dynamite, within AEW, if the wrong people get the wrong pushes, the wrong amount of time, then we got a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem. As a guy who's watched every minute of AEW television up until now, I have a problem with it. I want to see the best. I want to see the best against the best. I want the best possible matchups, the best possible cards, and I want the guys in there and girls doing what's best for the show. If you have people at the top of the pyramid that aren't letting people climb up to that rung, that level, there's a problem. If guys can't get over, if guys like FTR are finding trouble getting spots and getting over, well, what can you do? That's not going to help the company. Tony Khan's friendship and relationship with the Bucks, with the Elite, is a problem. No one's taken away the fact that the Elite and Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan got together and did this really cool thing by getting this company up and running. But all of this not news. I think a couple people said it in the chat, but there's a lot of this, like, oh my God, like, who was it? The Bleacher Report, I think, put it out that there's a report about a report of a reporting of a report of CM Punk that was reported. And I found it perfect. It was spot on. It was beautiful. And it was apropos of what we're getting. Every time this guy moves, we're getting reports on the color of his socks. He went and played Uno at Impact. We're getting all these reports. And no matter what the naysayers say, the facts are when Punk's involved in your company, your ratings go up. You might not like him. You might think he's a dick. But at the end of the day, he is good for your business because he makes your business better. And based on this article, based on his words, based on other reports, it seems like it's a select few that have a problem. And if they can't get over themselves, there's an issue. Their hope is people just quietly go away and leave the premises and leave them to their own sorority of little friends. But at the end of the day, not everybody does that. And Punk chose not to do that. I hope Collision is outstanding. I hope it's a new start for CM Punk. I hope he shows up and shows out. I hope everybody involved brings their A game. I think we're going to get some twists. We're going to get some turns. But I am extremely looking forward to this. Those fans out there that aren't, too bad. It's unfortunate. It's very narrow-minded. But at the end of the day, I put my clout in what I hear from people. I listen to a lot of different reports. I've read about a lot of wrestlers saying, oh, Punk bringing, Starbucks gift cards, Punk showing up and giving me advice, listening to me. Even people like Tony Storm and the names go on, Jade, Carthill, another one. People very complimentary, Hobbs, of what CM Punk brought to the table. But where are the reports of him being difficult? Where are the reports of him being a bad guy? Who's come out and said, I was in the locker room, Punk walked in and knocked my lunch off my lap? I haven't heard of it. I haven't read about it. In fact, I've read the contrary. You got guys like FTR that would do anything for Punk, have become best friends with Punk because of his attitude, his approach, and they went into the relationship apprehensive. So for me, I go where the evidence goes. I go where the information is. Until people come out, where's the report of Brandon Cutler being bullied in a bathroom? It hasn't happened. This all stemmed down to what I feel like it was jealousy at the end of the day. And truthfully, folks, that is just my humble opinion. I feel like it was jealousy that led to this Colt Cabana rumor that then led to more. Punk may have at some point said, I don't give a fudge what you do with Colt Cabana. Just keep him away from me. Tony could have taken that as, don't have him on TV. But he wasn't using him anyway. Remember that Jericho match that they did just to be smartasses? Well, it was a horrible match. Jericho and Colt Cabana almost killed themselves by falling off the top rope and didn't make them look any better. Definitely didn't make Punk look bad. But where's Cabana since? QT Marshall gets more airtime than Colt Cabana. So we're going to blow up the whole company and ruin any potential income from a feud between CM Punk and the Elite because Colt Cabana makes no sense to me. Doesn't seem reasonable. And we've talked about it on this channel many times. In wrestling history, we've had affairs. We've had people that hated each other. We go through the gambit of them. The Michaels and the Harts, the Hardy and the Edge, the ongoing list of people that found a way to make money in that ring regardless of circumstance, because real then does turn into money. When there's real animosity, when there's real heat, when there's real competitive nature, that's where we get it. When you're being authentic It's money. And I think that's why CM Punk is money. He might be abrasive. People might not like him. People might find him hard to deal with. But when you're just playing wrestler, well, then you get exposed. And I think that's what happened in this situation. But like A-Town said, at the end of the day, guys, I'm over it. Let's get back to business. Let's get in the ring. Let's see what happens at Collision, and let's cheer for the wrestling. Let's find reasons to be happy about the wrestling. Let's not continue to beat the drum of all the tribalism out there. It's killing AEW. You're splitting your fan base. It's not good for your business. But I think you're missing opportunities. I think we can turn the page now. Punk said what he said. Now I'm watching for the Meltzers of the world to start reporting the lies. Punk never chipped a tooth. Punk ducked into his hand. Like, that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. And I will end it with this thought. And actually, real quick, I'll just click on. I see a whole bunch of congratulations and such in the chat. I don't want to be a complete punk about this, so I will click some of these real quick. It's none of Hangman's business, yet nothing happens to Paige. Listen, the funniest part of all of this is Paige gets off scot-free. Paige isn't even there when the fight breaks out. Paige had already gone home, right? He took his butterfly jeans and left. I don't know why. I don't know how close Paige and Cabana are, but what he did, even, again, it's a cardinal sin in wrestling. It is what it is. But if you're going to go off script and you're going to shoot, you got to be ready. You can't just go, well, he said some stuff back and I don't like it. Well, what'd you expect? You expect to get away with it because of who you were, what your position was in the company? I don't think that's fair. This is what happens when there's no clear captain. Exactly. When the captain is running around the boat and not steering the ship, it's a problem. If he's checking on deck, making sure everybody's mopping well and going under, making sure everybody's getting along, if he's doing all these other things except steering that ship, you got a problem. You got a problem, and it doesn't go well at the end of the day for the company. It needs clear direction. It needs clear management, and they need somebody that can look at any of these people, whether it's Punk, Jericho, FTR, Bucks, you name it. I don't give a shit who it is. They have to be able to look them dead in the face and say, you were wrong, or this is wrong, or that's a bad idea, or sorry, not this time. You need somebody with a strong sense of being able to be an authority figure. I just don't see Tony Khan looking at any of the names I listed and saying, no, you can't do that, or getting in a heated argument with them. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a fiery little bugger behind doors, but I don't imagine it. I feel like that's why we continually get Jericho doing whatever he wants, and Jericho gets to go around and brag about his creative control and how much creativity he's just loving it, to the detriment of the show, to the detriment of pay-per-views, to the detriment of the fan base. We're not happy with that kind of thing. We want someone to look at Jericho and say, nah, this isn't going to work. We need an up-and-coming hot talent to get this guy over. Not you, not today. And you know what? You're going to take a loss, and you're not going to go do your wizard trick. You're just going to take a loss and go home. That's how we're going to put this person over. We're not going to make it all about you. You need that type of management. When all this started, if he would have just grabbed everybody and pulled them into one room and said enough's enough, maybe then we would have got something different. But for me, that's what this all comes down to. I'm so long-winded. The Young Bucks were one of the ones who kept dropping hints. The AEW first start to get Punk. Yeah, I mean, the interesting part with some of this, guys, and I know people bash and they're bad, and the smear campaign about Punk has been bad, but Punk had to sit at home and listen to all the little rumors, all the stories, all the Meltzer reports, all the Alvarez little snickers. Yeah, Dave, you tell him. He had to put up with all that. He had to tolerate all of that and didn't say a thing, didn't do anything. Eventually, he got pissed off at Alvarez and Meltzer. He told Jericho he was a stooge like anybody else, because they know where the leaks are coming from in a lot of regards. Generally the leaks are revolving around certain people. It's easy to kind of narrow it down sometimes. KJ, this is what happens when the owner of the company is in DK, doesn't put his foot down. Exactly. All right. Some love for Victor. What's up, Bonkers? I think I saw BJ kicking around as well. Everybody better be here tonight. Making peace. They got to make peace, man. It's business. You got to make you gotta be able to find a way to make money, and that's supposed to be the priority. Now, if Punk is trying to make amends, and all he's doing, it's like one of those segments in wrestling, like it's legit a life imitating art. You know those segments when the baby face comes out and there's like 45 security between him and the heel. That's what it feels like Punk's running into. Is like he wants to make it better, but he's hitting lawyers. If the Bucks are the good guys, if the Bucks did nothing wrong, if the Bucks only ever wanted the best, then why are they not taking the call? Why are they not sitting down for a meeting? Why are they hiding? Why can't Punk be in the same building as them? Why? Ask yourself why. Because they don't care about business. They care about this fallacy that they were one of the best tag teams ever. And they missed the mark, and they haven't lived up to the hype. That's my take. Makes you wonder if Punk highlighting Starks and Hobbs is because those guys have been used quizzically by booking. Has their curious booking been a result of their connection to Punk? I don't think so, because this is where I do think, as much as I blame and criticize Tony for not leading, I don't think he's malicious. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a vindictive little whatever, but he doesn't give me the impression that he would book people certain ways because of who they're friends with. I think they're booked. I think Hobbs has been booked poorly, and Starks have been booked poorly, kind of like Wardlow's been booked poorly. The House of Black hasn't been booked great. I don't think that's malicious. I think that's a lack of experience and a lack of proper storytelling, especially in the cases of the guys that like Starks who've got themselves over and the booking actually fizzled them out. I got 201 subscribers. Great job on 2K. Mick, congratulations on 201. We were thrilled to hit 2K. Yes, thank you. I'm over the Punk drama. Got that one, so I'm way behind. Happy Friday, BJ, Ratnick. Too many Chiefs. Yeah, too many chefs in the kitchen. Too many people with an opinion. We go back. I know my buddy, Big Nick. He's going to be here tonight. He's itching. He's been missing us. So Nick will be here a little bit later, but that WCW, he does it all the time because that's what happened there. And when when Bischoff ran into all that creative control issue and Russo ran into it, you're fucked. Hire Russo. Luna Havoc would totally support your decision making on that one. See money. Steve G might be right. Congrats on 2K. Bonkers, thank you. Happy Friday. No, Bonkers, thank you so much. Literally took us just over 15 months to hit 2K. So we are ecstatic. We're hoping our next 1K is even faster than this last 1K. We did it in about half the time of the first 1K. So giddy up, folks. And if you guys are already here, which you are, you made the right choice. Thank you so much for being a part of it. The Punk era shows were so much better than they have been since All Out. You've lost a compelling edge with Punk. And I listen to Mark Henry talk about it. And Mark Henry is a lot better than Punk at watching his words. But Mark Henry talks about Chris Statlander, Nyla Rose. Who else did he bring up? Jade, someone else. But he talks about those athletes that come to him and want his opinion. And then we've seen people like Adam Page go public and say, oh, why would I listen to someone like so-and-so? That's the problem. It doesn't matter. You got to understand, guys, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, fucking Pele, you name the players, Ronaldo, they went to practice. They went to practice all the time. They didn't skip practice. Yes, I'm talking about practice, folks. It didn't matter how great you were. It was getting better, looking at coaches and saying, what could I do? What did I do wrong here? How can I make this better? And the people that truly want to do that do get better. The problem is if you don't do that, you stay the same. And I think that's what you've seen, truthfully, with the Young Bucks and with Adam Page. More the Bucks, probably. They're doing the same stuff they did 10 years ago. They're doing the Ring of Honor stuff. They're doing the New Japan stuff. They're not evolving their game. They're doing exactly the same tricks because they're not learning. They do their shit. They go home and leave. And, we've all seen it. You've all seen it before. Even the guy or girl that as you were growing up, they were like that star athlete in school and they just never worked on it. It just kind of came natural. But all the people that were working harder just surpass them as they get older. And then that person ends up being like the local guy at the end of the bar, not happy about life. And what happened? You had all the talent, you had everything you needed in the world to get where you needed to go. It's about learning, it's about the process, it's about being better. So that's my take. Mick, thank you for that. With good storylines. Keyshawn, I missed the first part. Any kind of storyline, really. Yeah, listen, I mean, what I will say for Tony right now is he's not diving too far into Forbidden Door. I got to start tipping out. But where's Big Nick? Big Nick will be here tonight. The Tag Stream Champions will be back. He was doing his shoot job. I had an opportunity to jump on and talk about Punk for what was supposed to be 30 minutes, which is now 45 because it's me. But Big Nick will be back. As long as TK gives me good matches, I wouldn't give two shits what happens behind the scenes. I agree, A-Town. And you know what? I'm going to cap this off with that thought there. For anyone else I missed, come back tonight. Say your thoughts again. Remember, folks, we are here live for SmackDown and Rampage tonight. We will be back tomorrow for Collision and corrected. Wrestling Revolver. I was going to correct something, but I'm actually wrong. Wrestling Revolver, Ring of Destiny is tomorrow as well. We're going to cover both shows. It's going to be a fun night. It's a fun weekend. It's always live and happening on this channel. Plus, our half-year awards are coming up, so stay tuned for that. But as long as TK gives me good matches, I don't give two shits what happens behind the scenes. Folks, I keep saying this, and I keep trying to preach this to the IWC, and this is why I love the fact that we have 2K viewers, subscribers to this channel now, because it means we're growing. The message is growing. I want your opinions. You can love or hate anything in wrestling, but the divisiveness, the tribalism, the hatred, we're not talking about, politics and even that shit happens too much in a negative light in this world. Everybody is so polarized. There's a happy ground. We like to be the happy ground. We pride ourselves in being the most unbiased coverage. I think we should all sit back and enjoy the wrestling. The guys and girls who sit and hate watch 3 hours of Raw or hate watch 3 hours of AEW over the week. The people that just look for everything and anything to prove how shit the other company is dumb. It's a waste of time. Why would you dedicate that time to those choices? If you are hate watching, if you are miserable, if you hate everything they give you, stop watching. Change the channel. Watch something else. Only watch on Wednesdays. Only watch on Fridays. Make your choice. But at the end of the day, if you watch these shows, including NXT, including Impact, including GCW, including New Japan, if you watch all of this stuff, there's something in there for everybody. There's quality wrestling in all those organizations. And I implore the wrestling family out there to watch it with open mind, open eyes. Don't get caught up. I don't give a fuck if Vince is in charge, if Triple H is in charge, if TK is in charge, if CM Punk beat up all the fucking elite and their dogs. I don't care. I just want good shows. I draw the line when this shit bleeds into your shows, bleeds into your fan base. When the owner of the company announces there's going to be a new Saturday show and a big star is going to be on it and only half the crowd cheers, that's bad for business. So, guys, like I said, I kind of almost went double time on this one, which is generally my case. So I will say this real quick before I leave here, which I just said. We will be back tonight. Myself, Big Nick, here all weekend long for all your wrestling coverage. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends about the Wrasslin for Life Network. And we will be back tonight to celebrate. That's right. 2K heading towards 3K. I warned everybody. We are starting in the basement. We're going to the penthouse and we're blowing it out and beyond. And it's only just begun. So thank you so much. And go click all the buttons below. You know what to do. Bye.